So good afternoon to most of you, and good night for those of you that still live in the Israel time zone, such as myself. So my name is Yair Amit, and I'm the co-founder and CTO of Skycure. And in a nutshell, what we do is develop a firewall for mobile devices, aiming to protect from a variety of network-based threats, such as the one I'm going to present to you in a few minutes. So before I start, I would like to have a short survey with you. How many of you use your mobile devices to consume news? Okay. How many of you use them to read mail? Obviously, all of you. And now a tough question. How many of you have ever connected your bank accounts using your smartphone or tablet? Okay, so what I want to talk to you about today is malware. And I'll start with a known truth. Android has a lot of problems in the sense of malware, and we all know that when we use an Android device, we should be very sensitive regarding the kinds of applications that we install. And behind me, you have a graph by Trend Micro that shows the amount of malware that they have identified in Android in 2012. And obviously, it is very, very high. But the big question is, what about iOS? So I recently talked to some of my colleagues, and they asked them, as a normal iOS user, iPhone, iPad, etc., do I have to worry about malware? And almost everybody told me that as long as I don't jailbreak my device, and as long as I have an up-to-date version of the operating system, I can feel safe. And there's a good reason for this consensus. I'll touch in a highlight for the main reasons. The first reason is that in iOS, we only have one app store. And this app store is highly monitored by Apple. They know who are the developers, and they monitor what the applications do. And there's another reason, which is much more technical, and it is called app sandboxing. And in a nutshell, what it means is that while the applications you install provide a lot of value for you, they are very limited in their ability to influence other applications and the system itself. And this is a very important element. But we do install another kind of thing, which is called configuration profiles. These are files that once installed on your devices can configure key elements in your operating system. It is used by cellular carriers. It is used by mobile device management systems. In case you are in an organization, you may know them. And it's used by some mobile applications. These are very, very important elements of the operating system, and they are important and useful. However, there is one problem with these configuration profiles, and this is regulation. Anybody can create these profiles and lure people into installing them on the device. And this has a lot of bad ramifications in terms of security. So what I want to do now, and it is the first time that we do it in the public, so I hope everything will work as expected, is not just tell you about the ramifications, try to perform a demonstration, a live demonstration. And I welcome everyone that has an iPhone or an iPad to join me, but I must have a few notes. For who that joins the demonstration, your activities during the demo may be presented on the screen. So in case there is something very sensitive that I want to show, I will ask for your consent, but if you don't feel comfortable with it, feel fine to not join. And the second element is that for those of you that join my demo, I will provide detailed explanation regarding how to remove the demo at the beginning or at the end of the presentation. So again, feel good with this. So what I'm going to do now is to try and present my own iPhone on the screen in order to allow those of you who don't participate to see what actually happens. It will take me just a moment. What we can see on the right side is my own phone. This is a phone of a victim. On the left side, you can see a console that we have created in order to demonstrate the attack. So any of you that joins, you are welcome to perform searches as well, and you will be presented in here. But based on what I see at the moment, I think that most people are kind of worried, and this is OK. So what I'm going to do now is to start and working with my device, okay? And I'm trying to enter to the Israel conference website, but Wow, I see that more and more people are joining. That's good. But what will happen in a moment is that we'll see that we don't have full control over our devices. So you see people going to Wikimedia and people searching for David Copperfield, etc. Okay, so I'm trying to enter to Google, but suddenly I'm redirected to Bing, and this is due to my control over the devices. And now I'm going to try and control my device. So this is something that I do remotely on the device. Skycure was here. So what I actually show in here is my remote control over the browser, but this isn't the end of the story. You're welcome to keep on browsing on your devices, and what I'm trying to do now is something even more interesting. What you'll see in the moment is that I managed to open an application on my device remotely. And what this actually leads to is into, just a moment.
We don't really have control over our destiny.
Yeah.
That no matter how much we say we want to go to the Israel conference, we might get redirected to a shopping site.
Yeah.
And that it isn't by chance by search engine, but rather by control of a malicious party who may, in fact, take us beyond that, may take us to an information site, lure us into buying something or joining something, and engaging our good name into something that is not as good as we are.
Yeah, so obviously there is a technical problem with the demo, so I will continue and just describe what should have happened in here. And what actually happened is that it's not only that we can control the browser, we can also control much more important stuff. We can actually identify the username and the password to your mail accounts. We can actually connect and see what you do when you connect to your bank accounts. So I will try again and again. As you see, there is a problem, but maybe it will work. And the problem is very simple, and I will come back to the presentation and just describe what should have happened. What we did is simply installing on profile on our devices. But what actually happened once we did it is two elements. The first one, we actually made our device to route all of what we're doing through a third-party server, let's say the attacker server. But the most important thing that actually happens as well is that we install something that is named a root CA. In a nutshell, what it means that it allows a third-party server to impersonate every service that we browse to. It can be our mail account, it can be our Facebook, and it can be our bank activities. And by doing so, it can decrypt everything we're doing, and therefore circumvent any kind of security that we usually have on our devices. So in my demonstration, and I will be happy to perform this later on if you come to me and have it in person, is that I can actually show you whatever you type in your Wells Fargo application. I can show you your credentials to your mail account. And what it actually means, think for a moment that I hijack your username and password to your mail account. It means a lot of things. First of all, I can access all of your sensitive mails. Second of all, you know, we all have a lot of cloud services, but what happens when we forget our passwords? And that happens all the time. What we usually do is just recover our passwords. And what happens? We receive an email to our mail account, and then we can recover the password. And once you have control over the mail account, you can actually recover a variety of other credentials to other services. And the third interesting element here is the fact that let's say you received a mail from nobody that you know, and it asks you to install something weird. You wouldn't do it. But what happens if you receive a mail from your friend? This is much more promising for an attacker. And what happens once you hijack a mail account is that you can extract all of the contacts and then send them on the behalf of the victim a recommendation to install your malicious profile, therefore making it much more effective.
So,
yeah.
lunch waiting.
Yeah, I'll finish in a moment. So just to recap, we published this 2 months ago, and as a result, we received a lot of feedback from readers that were worried about whether they have something bad on their devices. We analyzed a huge amount of profiles that people had on their devices, and we actually identified an impressive amount of people, real people, that had a malicious profile installed on their device, in the sense that we identified that all of the traffic is routed through a weird server, and this traffic is being decrypted. So what I urge you to do is feel free to contact me and check whether you have something bad on your device, because this isn't theory, this is reality. So thank you very much. This is my contact details, and thank you.